The release of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 is right around the corner, and fans can't wait for its release and what could be the final release of the franchise. However, I do want to talk about some new information that I found out about the possibility of the continuation of this franchise, so stick around if that's something you want to hear. Today we'll be covering the behind-the-scenes moments of this film and how they put all of this together. But before we get into more of these moments, some trivia for you. What other actor who initially tried out for the role of Peter Quill ended up getting another role in the same film? Leave your guesses in the comments down below and stick around to the end of the video to find out if your answer was correct. E.T. went behind the scenes with the cast and was able to see the set they shot on.
People didn't understand why we were doing that space movie with a tree and a raccoon.
I think the Guardians are so imperfect. Their pasts are not squeaky clean.
This found family, putting trauma behind them to become their best selves. There's something really special about that.
Karen Gillan and Chris Pratt sat down during the interview and went through the phases of the journey on the last day on set and what it was like for him and the people around him.
That was not actually Chris that I was carrying. That was a doll of Chris.
Yeah.
But it was so lifelike.
It was
the
so
thing
well
had
done.
pores.
It was so creepy.
Like little hairs.
It felt like
everything.
it was just a dead version
looked
of
like
him,
it was
or
him.
a sleep version of him.
And as he goes back to the early days of this franchise and predictably being Marvel's first major flop movie, obviously this didn't turn out to be the case. And here we are with 3 full movies and maybe more stories along the way.
Hey, what's up? Chris Pratt here. I'm on set. And one of the rules on set, you never walk in when the red light is rolling, because that means that they are rolling, and if you walk in, it could disturb them. Also, no cell phones on set. Let's go in. I do what I want.
Over the course of this past decade, this cast has had many moments between them filming for all 3 of these films, and we're saying goodbye on set as it is believed that this is the last one.
And last but not least, I'm here with the grip. It's okay. It's okay, I'm not offended. I'm not offended.
Señorita, señorita.
I'm burning now. Stop! And stop!
However, with this recent one, Chris Pratt and his co-stars were devastated that James Gunn was fired for something that had happened over a decade ago and was somewhat minor.
Of course, it was a wonderful moment when I put on the suit, as it were. As soon as I put on that suit and felt the weight of it and the beautiful purple, the royal purple of it and stuff, that added to it also. I was also walking around with these amazing handmade boots that, you know, made me about 3 inches taller than I normally am.
Chris and a few other cast members like Zoe Saldana band together and spoke to Kevin Feige about the whole ordeal and begged Marvel to rehire him, to which they did and was somewhat the reason that this sequel exists. All of them dropped everything to help the director who had created the Guardians on screen, giving some a prominence in Hollywood they'd only dreamt about. This was a man who took chances on us, and it just made sense for us to have his back when he needed it the most, says Saldana.
James has been able to construct these action sequences
and stitch together what appear to be long one-shots, but while simultaneously going in and out of various shutter speeds. So it goes slow motion into really fast motion into ultra slow motion, like 1500 frames a second. Before, if you ever to do something that high speed, you would need a phantom camera.
But real quick, make sure you guys check out our Instagram page linked down in the description. There's a ton of interview moments and memes, so make sure you check it out and give us a follow. At one point, James Gunn provided this really cute footage that was actually test footage of what might be Rocket as a baby, and the animation and realism is pretty spot on. Some other cast members like Pom Klementieff and Karen Gillan actually spoke about some secret scripts because, and some might not know this, a lot of times, especially on projects like this, the scripts they are given are kind of fake or not totally real, because they are so careful with not releasing the story.
And we read the script together and we cried
we
the
cried
whole
at the
time.
same time,
It was like,
laughed
oh,
at the
this
same
is so
time.
good.
Yeah.
And then we tried to, you know, hide the script because we're scared of people.
Pom is
finding
paranoid
it.
about people finding her
Yes,
stuff.
I love to hide stuff and then I can't find it.
Maria Bakalova is another cast member that is a newcomer, having been active in the acting world only since 2017. And this is her first role in a Marvel movie, and we get to hear her talk about joining this major franchise and joining the rest of the cast.
So everything in her made me attracted to play her, and the idea of having that kind of an unconditional love, because we all know that puppies, dogs have it in them, and I think we as human beings should learn from them. That's important, and let's try to do it as much as possible.
I'm not gonna lie, Gunn said, speaking at a press conference. I had hopes. I felt really good about it from the beginning. I felt like we were doing something different. I felt like the world needed a space fantasy that was different from ones we've seen before.
It's imagination, music, beautiful imagery. It's really a fantastic story from the brain of a mad genius, James Gunn.
Everything that drives it is that emotional center of all of these characters who are all outsiders.
And even though the Avengers were not in it, it almost feels like they were, or the setting looks somewhat familiar. There's a new villain within this film as well, so we will get to see this new face in the mix and just what happens.
If an effect can be done the best with prosthetic effects, and we have more prosthetic effects in this than any movie ever made in the history of film, for real, you know, then I'm going to do that. And if it's best served by doing computer, you know, graphics, then I'm going to do that. So it's really what looks the best, what serves the story.
Chris Pratt and James Gunn sat down and talked about how he set up the entire universe and completing this trilogy.
I've learned so much about working with actors, you know, really difficult actors like Chris Pratt, you know, and how you have to manage them because their egos and, you know, the fact that they won't.
Go on.
I forgot you were here.
Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 focuses on Rocket's backstory and is the most emotionally charged film in the franchise. And no spoilers here as far as details, but news and talk is circulating around about another sequel.
Yeah, we go both ways actually.
It was always said that James Gunn had meant for the story of Guardians of the Galaxy to stop at the third sequel. Now that James Gunn slowly moved to working with DC, many fans were speculating that this would be the end of the franchise, but that may not be the case. Someone else could take over and continue on.
It does take a lot of work to get into the whole Nebula getup. The makeup process has definitely evolved over the years. On the first film, it took 5 hours and I had shaved my head. So it was like they would get all the stubble off of my head first thing and then glue everything to my face and neck. And then we sort of streamlined that over the years, and actually I was able to keep my hair for this last movie.
According to the Marvel phases, there are 2 more Avengers films, Avengers: The Kang Dynasty Dynasty in 2025 and Avengers Secret Wars in 2026. And who knows who could appear in these films, if the same actors will return or if the Guardians characters will appear or not, but we will just have to wait and keep an ear out for what the future holds for Guardians of the Galaxy.
The assumption is that there's a lot of green screen. You're doing kind of virtually everything against a blue screen or a green screen. And I gotta say, it's wild to be in scenes of this nature and have sometimes 90% of the world around you kind of practically there.
Karen Gillan and Pom Klementieff sit down once again and talk about their favorite scenes with each other in this film, and finally having scenes together.
For Nebula, we've really seen her go on a journey of healing. Like, in the first film, she was very sort of bitter and tormented, and then gradually she's evolving and developing compassion and forming a relationship with her sister Gamora. And so in this movie, we're starting to see her actually be able to help other people heal, which is a really important stage of the healing process. So that's quite nice to see.
And we will close out this video with one particular interview with Chris Pratt and James Gunn and the return of Star-Lord.
To think of moving forward, it's really hard, and without James, I don't know how that would work. And I'm open to it, but man, it would. I don't know.
I want the Guardians to continue myself.
And as far as the answer to our trivia question, Lee Pace is the actor who wanted the role of Peter Quill alongside many others. But of course, Chris Pratt ended up taking the role.
This is my screen test for Guardians of the Galaxy as Drax. And this was the first time I'd not only ever met Chris Pratt, but they kind of threw us together and to get do this chemistry test to see if we matched, if we had chemistry, if we could. And I'm sorry, I'm listening to the lines because none of this was planned. They didn't give us. They said, we just want to see you together. We just want to see you interact.
So I wanted to turn this around to you guys. What do you guys think about all these moments? Which was your favorite, and are you excited to see this film? Some are speculating that this Marvel film will be one of the greatest since Endgame. But let us know what your thoughts are in the comments down below. Make sure you're subscribed with notifications on for more videos just like this. That's it for today though. We'll see you all next time with a brand new video.
What's up, everybody? Chris Pratt here. I'm on the set of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. This is day 1. That's why these sick-ass mutton chops are back. Pretty sweet. I'm very excited to be here.